Here we go, human activities and the Earth's climate. So we're going to start to talk about when we start to learn about climate change and what's happening. We really start to focus on what it is that we are doing. And a way that people do that is something called the carbon footprint. Carbon footprint is how much carbon you put out into the atmosphere. It's how much carbon your daily activities generate. Now, it's not just, hey, I'm breathing out and that's carbon and that's it. No, it has to do with how much factories put out to produce things that you will use, your clothes, the things you eat, right? How much it takes to heat your house, how much it takes to drive you from point A to point B, washing clothes, right? You look at how big your car, also disposing of your trash, very important one. Believe it or not, disposing of trash adds a lot to your carbon footprint. So, your carbon footprint is much bigger than you might think. And maybe we'll try and calculate our carbon footprint. I don't know. It's a fun activity. We do have some time. But the best way you can help the environment is to reduce your carbon footprint. Why are we talking about carbon? Because carbon is related to CO2. CO2 is a greenhouse gas. The greenhouse effect is a natural thing that happens in the Earth's atmosphere that keeps it warmer, right? The Earth's atmosphere traps some of the rays that bounce off and redirects them back down to keep the Earth heated. It's a good thing. We need it. The problem is when there's too much gas, it holds too much heat in, and the temperature gets hot. This is why we talk about global warming, because this causes the globe to get warmer than we would like it. Greenhouse gases include carbon dioxide, methane, water vapor. They make up 1% of the Earth's atmosphere, but they absorb heat leaving the Earth's surfaces. The levels of the greenhouse gases are what we're worried about. The levels of greenhouse gases are what humans are increasing. Our activities, factories, cars, burning fossil fuels, making things, just being, we are putting more carbon and methane. Remember we talked about cow farts. Methane into the atmosphere. Come on. So, our atmospheric carbon dioxide levels, if you look at this graph in your book, over the last 200 years, we've gone from about 280 parts per million to nearly 4. We've almost doubled it. The most abundant greenhouse gas is carbon dioxide. That's what we are contributing to. That's what happens when humans burn fossil fuels. Fossil fuels are energy-rich substances like gasoline, like oil, anything that comes from a fossil that's very deep underground that turns into that wonderful carbon-rich, I guess it's a hexane ring, but don't worry about it. Over the last 120 years, we started burning it. We started mining it, burning it, using it to heat things. This has contributed to global warming. The average temperature of the troposphere has increased by about a degree Fahrenheit, or Celsius rather, so about 2 degrees Fahrenheit. Calling this global warming. They believe that this process builds on itself very quickly compared to 120 years. And this 1 degree will turn into 2, will turn into 4, will turn into 8 within the next 50, 60 years, which is your lifetime. The effects of global warming, we have talked about this, the melting of glaciers, rising sea levels, drought, desertification. In case you don't know, desertification is an area that is previously able to grow things, turning into a desert. Changes to our biosphere, regional changes in temperature, global temperature changes, all is going to be different everywhere. And we're going to talk more specifically about what will happen where, how it will happen to you. We'll even try and get you to think about it a little bit. But consider that. How do you think global warming will affect you? So, some regions will get very dry. Some will get very warm. You'll have severe droughts. Some lands will become deserts. Some places we used to farm will no longer grow food. It will lead to food shortages and famines. Right? Rising temperatures will cause sea levels to melt glaciers. And because they will upset the balance of organisms and ecosystems, everything will just sort of go all out of whack. Things that have little niches in an area because of climate we'll have to move somewhere else and it'll disrupt other ecosystems. It's really like the straw that breaks the camel's back and everything sort of falls apart. So what can we do? Remember I've talked, what can we do? I've been asked, what can we do? There are lots of things we can start to do now outside of an overall, put the ice back, driving truckloads of snow that falls here to ships and shipping it to Antarctica. There's things we can do beyond that. We can look for sources of energy and manufacturing that do not produce carbon dioxide, or carbon dioxide. That's what we can do. We can limit our carbon footprints. We can find renewable energy sources. We can stop burning fossil fuels. Reduce our greenhouse gas emissions. Whatever that means for you, reduce your greenhouse gas emissions. These clouds that come out of the top of smokestacks, if we have fewer of them, we have fewer carbon dioxide emissions. We have less carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Our greenhouse effect is more in line with what it ought to be, and we have fewer problems. So, answer the questions. Good luck. If you need me, I will check Schoology a little bit later, so feel free to message me.